Yesterday I was at a rally in Fredericksburg, Pennsylvania, and it was a rally with a group called Truckers and Citizens United, and it was awesome. And by the way, Congressman Holden was invited to debate me at that rally as well, and was unable to make it. But on their minds, as well as on our minds, is the issue of energy. They drive truck. This is their livelihood. And they're very deeply concerned. In fact, they're having a truck drive into Washington again. And if my schedule permits, I'm going to be in the first truck. Because we really need to address the issue. Let me back up a minute and say this. This crisis didn't happen yesterday. Our current congressman has had 18 years almost in Washington, 16 years, whatever it is, and as well as the rest of our congresspeople. Where have they been? Sleep at the switch? 1973, we had to take turns getting gas. I had to wait with Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I'm looking around, these young faces don't have a clue what I'm talking about. But there was a gas crisis. Yeah, thank you. There was a crisis. In 1973, what have we done? We haven't done much. And the responsibility falls at the feet of the Republicans and the Democrats. But I have to tell you, where we sit now, a lot more of the responsibility falls on my opponent and his party. What I would do, drill here, drill now, pay less. Long term, that's not isolated. That is in conjunction with a policy of let's find renewables, let's find other types of energy and fuel. Let's talk about wind and solar and nuclear. Nuclear power, we keep hearing, oh, there's uranium and there's that dirty water and all that stuff. France and Germany have had nuclear power plants for years. They have developed a process of reusing that product so that they don't have the waste that a lot of people are concerned about. But there is wind, there is solar, hydrogen cells. Now here's where I and my opponent and his party differ. First of all, Congressman Holden voted for Nancy Pelosi to lead the House of Representatives. He thought she was the best person to develop an agenda for our country and be third removed from the presidency of the United States of our country. Oh. But that aside, her agenda has been don't drill, don't drill, don't drill. Why? Because she wants to keep her coast of Florida pristine, so she says. Or so she hasn't said much of, but she's an environmentalist. Her constituency are environmentalists. And I have to tell you that sounds like Republicans, or I and my party are not. We are. I have twin 2.5-year-old granddaughters. I want to hand them a world where they don't have to suck air through a mask, and where there's energy for them to heat their homes, and where they have products to drive their cars. We want a clean country too. My gosh, I have rain barrels. I don't even use my well to water my plants if I can get away with it. You know, we turn our heat to 60 in the winter. Although I have a disagreement about that every now and then. But we have alternative. We have oil heat and we have propane as a backup. So, you know, we really taken care to insulate, take care of our home. We need alternative forms of energy. But if you looked at all the cars sitting out here in the parking lot, not one, I don't know any of them that are out there right now that run on alternative fuels. We need oil. And we need petroleum-based products. What do our tires come from? Petroleum-based products. Our highways, our roads, asphalts. You know, their municipalities right now can't repay the highway because of they're holding back on the expensive asphalt, which has a petroleum base. There are a lot of things going on out in our plastic. Your plastic fork, your plastic spoon have you know, petroleum in the making, or petroleum byproduct. So there are a lot of things we need to do, but we need to start drilling. And I have been hammering drill, drill, drill. Drill offshore and drill in Anwar. Take the oil shale out in the Midwest. Trillions of potential barrels of oil available to us. And we have a leader of the Congress of the United States that won't even allow us to have a discussion about it. How can that be? August 1st, Nancy Pelosi, leader of the House of Representatives, the woman that Tim Holden thought was the best choice to lead that body, and who has voted with her 95% of the time, and has voted against drilling offshore and has voted against drilling in ANWR. Nancy Pelosi stands up and says, well, folks, let's go home, let's go on vacation. Let's just leave. What did they do? They literally took a vote, and all it would have taken was one vote. One vote for one on her side of the aisle to stand up and say, we're going to stay, and we're going to stay and hash this out. We're not going on vacation and leave the people who paid to send us here, who pay the freight for our employment, who pay the freight for our vacation. We're not leaving until we address the issue. But where was Tim Holden? Absent yesterday, absent today, and absent August 1st, when he could have stood up and said, let's have the discussion. But he didn't. He left. He left, and they closed the lights and the doors, and a group of stalwarts sat there and said, we're not leaving. Republicans and Democrats sat there and said, we're not leaving. We're going to keep talking about this to draw attention to the problem. So, we need a comprehensive energy policy that includes drilling now, immediately. And by the way, not 7 years will it take to produce oil offshore. The technology is there, a year to get oil offshore. ANWR, a postage stamp compared to the beautiful, pristine area. And have you seen the kind of land that ANWR is? Barren, desolate land. We need to drill. But we also need to look to the future. And we need alternative forms of energy. We really need to take a look. And by the way, I don't want the government in it picking winners and losers. Let's see, who shall we subsidize? I support the free market development of other forms of energy, which would stimulate the economy, stimulate jobs and growth in this country, and not picking and choosing who gets the check to develop it. Thank you.